It's that time of year again, the time of year where gamers and football fans across the world all wait in anticipation to see something brand spanking new, something that's never been seen before, something experimental maybe, something that really pushes the boat out and something that's strangely satisfying? Well, Jose Mourinho's a part-time gangster now and apparently he's one of Stormzy's mandem, so that's new, but what about FIFA 23 I hear you cry? Well, there's nothing new to see here, I'm afraid. I do tell a lie, EA have made some changes this year, so let's have a gander at what they've added this time round. Firstly, they've added the option to disable critical commentary, so the commentator will no longer criticise you. I mean, if you're offended by a video game's commentary, then you're beyond a snowflake. You're a melted snowflake that has absolutely no chance at succeeding in life.
Oh, Mummy, the man on the telly shouted at me again because I ballooned my shot into row Z.
Jesus Christ, so that's new at least. They've really ramped up the pitch effects this year as well, with slide tackles taking huge divots out of the pitch, and by the time the second half rolls on, the pitch looks like the Hackney Marshes footy pitches with all the players running about trying to dodge lots of little dog shits. Women's club football has been added too, so if you're into the women's side of the game, you've got that to enjoy, but EA have really doubled down on the diversity of things this year. Now, I'm all for diversity, but this is diversity gone mad, because there's these quick cutscenes of fans with a dad holding his son, and I've not seen a single dad with a son who's the same race as he is. Now, I'm no doctor, but I'm not even sure some of these race combos are scientifically possible, and that dad should definitely be having words with his missus. Speaking of the missus, they've added some more comedic tannoy announcements that play throughout the game.
This is a message from Benjamin Walker. Benjamin Walker from the police come to reception. Your wife
Gundogan.
Benjamin Walker sounds like he's in deep shite with his Darth Vader wife. Would Benjamin Walker please come to reception? Your wife is waiting for you. I'd stay exactly where you are, Benjamin, if I was you, but credit where credit's due. The visuals are looking a lot crisper than previous years. PC players can now get the absolute maximum out of the game thanks to it not being held back to the console's last-gen version of the game, but your graphics options are still pretty limited. A new strand-based hair option is available though in the graphics options, so you can now see Jack Grealish's luxurious hair waft around in all its glory as he smashes one top bins in stoppage time against Villa after going 3-0 down to complete a 4-3 comeback. Had to get that in there. Now, I'm more of a career mode player myself, and sadly there's very little that's been added to the career mode this year other than the option to play as a top tier manager, so you can be Pep Guardiola rather than creating your own Pep from wish.com. I do like to dabble in the Ultimate Team every now and then, and as you'd expect, the area containing the most microtransactions is the area that EA have spent the most time on once again. The chemistry system has been revamped, so rather than chemistry being associated with the players next to each other, it's applied across the whole team, which I think is a much better way of the chemistry system to work. We've also got the option to preview packs every 24 hours, so if you don't like the looks of what's inside, you can save your coins for another pack, but only once every 24 hours. All the other modes are still there with a few little tweaks. Your progression is shared across both Volta and Pro Clubs, so your seasonal points can be spent in both modes. There's some new skill perks added to the RPG style skill tree in Volta, which are Poacher, Light Passes, Interceptor and Chase Down. 6 new arcade games have been added, which are Dribble King, Obstacle Course, Foot Golf, 4 Squares, Battle Buckets and Capture the Ball, and there's a few new animations that fall under the umbrella of that ridiculous marketing buzzword hypermotion, though this year it's hypermotion 2. What is that, honestly? Hypermotion 2. What a load of bollocks. Basically, it's new animations, which should be a standard inclusion in every FIFA release, but EA have decided that their efforts need a pat on the back from gamers, and to make sure we don't miss it, they've named it Hypermotion. Don't get me wrong, the animations have massively improved. They used to look so wooden. Last year's Hypermotion had 4,000 player animations, and this year's Hypermotion 2 has been up to 6,000, but that should just be standard and not be a selling point. Players have been crying out for so many other features, and I don't think many are actually sold on this Hypermotion bollocks. I do like the Hypermotion replays though. It's a little bit excessive, but I enjoy the dynamic camera swinging around the goal scorer and providing all the little bits of info on the screen. It makes the goal feel better than it actually was, so that's pretty cool. cool. The same can be said about the new power shot technique, where the camera will zoom into the player for dramatic effect. Now, you'll need time and space to pull this off, but it can unleash a devastating thunder bastard if done properly, but it can easily go horribly wrong too. I'm glad to see that crossplay has been added too, which is nice, but it is limited to certain game modes, and you can see those here. There's loads more cutscenes to add a more cinematic feel to each game as well, which in all honesty I really liked, from the intros to each game to the little details like a shaking camera effect for a last minute goal and the players receiving the ball in their hands before placing it down for a set piece. The set pieces feel much better in my opinion, and there's a new mechanic to get used to, but I felt much more in control of crosses when taking a corner and haven't really had enough free kicks yet to get used to the shooting aspect of the new mechanic, but it feels pretty decent. The games feel much slower though, which I prefer that sense of realism in all honesty, where the game looks and feels lifelike instead of a game of pinball. I do think a lot of players might have a problem with this though. We always see the game's feel change drastically throughout its short lifespan. The speed of the game, the passing tempo and the strictness of the refs, these all get tweaked to accommodate the players that moan to EA the loudest. Now, I think that some of the decisions that I've seen from the referees so far have been absolutely shambolic. Like, look at this beastly tackle, it was perfectly timed, and like last year I wouldn't be surprised to see the regularity of fouls receiving an update. I also felt like the keepers were really hit and miss as they were last year, pulling off some unbelievable ninja-like fly swatting goalkeeping animations and then some absolute whiffers. I'm wondering if Hypermotion 3 will fix that. I've had virtually no bugs to speak of this time round, other than a cutscene being extremely fascinated in a fan's elbow, and occasionally a player would pick up the ball out of the net and it's still spinning, which is odd. I mean, I definitely put some waz on it, but not that much waz, Jesus. Now, all joking aside, I'm having fun playing FIFA 23, and that's the main thing, but my criticisms are all based on the lack of improvements being made to the franchise. There's been some improvements, of course, but fundamentally there's just not enough for me to advise the players that could be on a tight budget, and forking out 40 to 50 quid on a new game is a massive commitment to them. It's hard to justify. Those that can afford will no doubt have already made up their mind anyway, and I think if you enjoyed FIFA 22, you'll likely enjoy FIFA 23. There's an official men's and women's World Cup mode being added later into the year too, which definitely adds some more value, which will also coincide with the real thing, and that's nice. But ultimately, I thought EA and their association with the name FIFA would be going out with a much bigger bang than this. We still don't know who'll be developing next year's FIFA game. My money would be on 2K, but either way, after Konami's execution of PES getting worse and worse, it'll be nice to see a new developer start working on a football franchise and seeing what competition they can add to the market. The pressure's on EA now, so it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. One thing I do not want to happen though is to see the licensing of teams being split up between games, because there's only going to be one loser in that situation, and that's the players. Anyway, will you be giving FIFA a miss this year, or are you picking it up regardless? Let me know your thoughts and I'll see you in the next one.